or tactical team.
Hey there guys, this is me, Malorian, and this is going to be an Orc tactical team. Nothing from me for weeks, and now you can't get me to shut up. Now, in one of our previous ones, we talked about how BattleBox demos and War Machine suck. And you guys came out and you commented. A lot of you guys not agreeing with me, and that's great. I'm not here to make sure that you agree with me. Hey, let's come here and have a discussion about it. Now, in a nutshell, what that was all about is this really saying that BattleBox games really produces something that's extremely simplistic, not very overly interesting, doesn't show the game whatsoever, and in the end, normally loses people's interest, right? When people are coming in looking for this tactical game, they're like, huh, this game looks like it sucks because it doesn't actually show what the game's about. And then otherwise, you know, somebody comes in just looking for something for fun, they're like, oh wow, this is a game all about robots. No, actually it's not. There's infantry and other stuff too, but if you do these battle boxes, it makes no sense. You really have to go to the two-player, or even better yet, like the all-in-one boxes, and then you get a real experience. Now, one of the comebacks that I had is saying, well, Malorian, the whole thing you had to realize with these battle boxes is that it's a starting point, and you're supposed to be going somewhere with it. And the main place we can be looking at for this is the Journeymen League. The Journeymen League is something that Privateer Press has designed that's really supposed to be to take new players and gradually bring them into the game. It's like saying right there, alright, we know this battle box thing is kind of small and isn't really realistic, but it's just a launching pad to start going bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you get into the game. So today, what we're going to be talking about is why the Journeymen Leagues suck. Now, let's kind of start off to begin with what it's supposed to do. What is Privateer Press trying to do with these Journeymen Leagues? Well, the whole idea is, for starters, what I just said. If you have a new player that's getting into the game, they can come in, they can do their battle box game 1 week, and it's like, okay, yeah, I'm understanding these rules. Okay, next week, you add on a little bit more. And they're like, okay, I think I'll pick this up. All right, now I got the handle of this, play another game. Okay, yeah, I'm starting to get this. Next week, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, until the very end, where, wow, all of a sudden now they're playing a full game, and this is fantastic. Meanwhile, you know, of course it's good for them financially because somebody bringing them into the game is like, hey, they keep on buying extra and extra and extra and extra. It's a good way to pull somebody into the game and say, alright, if you want to continue, buy a little bit more, buy a little bit more, buy a little bit more, right? So, I mean, there's always that part too, where, come on, it's a business. I'm not going to say that's a negative thing. The other part too is that also it helps people kind of bring along their forces, right? I mean, not only is it kind of introducing the game, but because they also usually have points for painting and stuff like that too, well, it gets them in and says, alright, well, take this small thing, paint it, now take the next step, but get something small, and then paint that, and then buy this, and then paint that. And it's a great way to encourage the hobby. If nothing else, the Journeymen League is a great way that Privateer Press infuses the hobby into the game. It's saying, alright, I'm going to directly reward you for painting. It's not like points in a steamroller that goes to an overall or something like that, but in this format, in this Journeymen League format, you will get points for painting because it's supposed to be onboarding these new players. So Malorian, just a second now, because what you're kind of saying to me right now is that these Journeymen Leagues are actually great things. How could you possibly be saying they suck? Well, unfortunately, all these unicorn dreams and rainbows and happiness isn't the way that these Journeymen Leagues typically actually work in reality. Now, what I mean by that is that, sure, the idea of taking a new player in and bringing them in, okay, I mean, that's a great thing in theory, but when you start seeing this happen at clubs, it gets corrupted like hell. Now, let's start off in the very first thing where I talked about points, and the whole idea is that you get points for playing the game, you get points for playing, and painting rather, and as you go you get more points, and at the end there's a reward. That's awesome, right? Hey, you, go paint some stuff. Hey, you, go play some games. This is great. We're getting all these new players, and we're going to go and get them some prizes and make them feel like War Machine is awesome. Well, here's the issue. New players never win those prizes, or at least almost never. Because once you have this system and the veteran gamers see it, they're like, huh, alright, let's do this. And all of a sudden now, you get these veteran players taking part in these Journeymen Leagues because they're saying, okay, you know, maybe normally we have our steamrollers and we have our own competitive formats, but, you know, I always wanted something like a ladder league that would kind of reward me for playing and winning. Well, this is perfect. This is just what I want. And you get all these now veterans coming into the Journeyman League just to kick some butt. They're going into their list, they're trying to make the perfect combination for each one, and they're going in here just to destroy everybody. Meanwhile, you also have the people who are like, okay, on the good side, I have some things to paint. I might not be a new player, but, you know, I want to get some things painted. Let's do this. But again, you got that dark side that's kind of like tingling in the back that says, if I get all these points for painting all these things, I can just spam these things, and I can win this thing on points alone. And again, they've tried different Journeyman Leagues over time where they have different values pointing towards playing and painting and all this, but you definitely see where people are coming in and gaming the system. And meanwhile, any new players that might be taking part in this are being left in the dust. And they're saying, all right, I'm here to, oh my god, I'm getting destroyed. Because that's what happens. This new player comes in their battle box and like, oh boy, I heard this war machine's so great. Let's play a game. Oh, what's this? You actually play on like the WTC? Badoosh, they get absolutely destroyed. And now they're thinking, not only is this game kind of simplistic, but it's broken. Look at these guys, you know, are able to game the system and destroy me. There's something wrong with War Machine. It's flawed, blah, 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 blah. All right, well, let's move on to the next size. Yeah, there you go again. All these veteran players gaming the system with their net lists and just crushing me. Look at this. Here's another game. I thought War Machine was a good game about balance, and now it's all about net lists and win at all costs and crushing people. And it's giving these new players a wrong feeling. Again, it's supposed to be embracing them and taking them through the way, right? And all of a sudden instead, it's not. It's getting them crushed by people, the sharks who are coming into the Journeyman League and destroying them. Now, meanwhile, we talked about how you're going to be going larger and larger, starting at that battle box and then going a little bit bigger. Well, if there's no one to hold their hand, and normally there isn't because the press ganger or whoever's running this is trying to deal with this for like 20 people, and he can't hold the hand for all these people. He might go in and make sure that new person comes in and they get their game in and they know the rules, but then it's like, all right, well now in this next one you get some extra points. What do you want to get? Well, the only thing they know how to use is jacks. That's all they've learned so far. So, I got a few more points. Well, let's get another jack. Yeah, I can get a light jack. Or maybe I can take out this light jack and put in this new heavy jack. Yeah, that's great. Okay, the next week I got more points. Well, let's get another heavy. I mean, why would I ever add some infantry? I don't know how those things work. And I mean, the infantry is not to do well against these other jacks. I mean, it's going to get crushed. Again, leading them down the wrong path. Now, that's a generalization. I'm sure there's some players that get taught the power of infantry in a balanced game. But for the vast majority of what I've seen from new players is they come in only learning, again, how to deal with jacks and beasts, and they just continue on with it. They're like, I don't know why they'd be taking infantry. They can't really scratch this armor 19, and then just keep on buying these jacks. And now you're at the end of this Journeyman League where you've led them all the way through, they spent all this money, and now they have all these jacks. And if they want to really make a competitive list, odds are it's not what they really want. Whereas again, if you would have been having some way, or it's like, hey, here's the all-in-one box, we're going to be doing a league with that. Well, that's great. Now we have a mix of everything, and we're learning all the different pieces, the beasts, the jacks, the units, the solos, and now I'm learning the game. It might be some way where I can just be playing with other people and learning it, but now it's another biased way that has me now focusing on the jacks and the beasts, and that just doesn't really help anyone. Now, I know some people, they can do their best to try and correct for this. They'll say, hey, this is for new players only. You know, they'll make sure to kind of really hold their hand and lead their way through. But to be honest, it's really hard to do. Us press gangers, we're volunteers. Store owners, they're also, you know, entrepreneurs. They have other parts of their job they have to do too. So even though, again, in this dreamlike state where everything's perfect and we're leading them through this perfect process, it very rarely works out that way. In fact, the way that I would say that Journeyman Leagues are good is that they're good for encouraging painting. From what I've seen, a lot of times the best good I've seen from Journeyman Leagues is where you take a veteran group and you're like, all right, we're going to be doing this Journeyman League. You can go and take whatever stuff you want as we're going up. Yeah, of course, you're going to be fighting for the death and all this stuff. But you know, if you really want to win, you better get those painting points in. So everybody starts painting a little bit, and all of a sudden, instead of it really being like a process to bring in new players, it's really a painting challenge. That's what it really comes down to. So, I guess in the end, what I'm really saying is that Journeyman Leagues don't suck. They have their purpose. However, I think when you look at what its intended purpose is, then it sucks. So there you have it, guys. When you start with a battle box, it's a horrible way to do a demo game for War Machine. When you go and take them then with that battle box and put them through a Journeyman League, it usually ends up even worse, and we gotta find some way to do this better. I mean, that's what I'm hoping, right? It's not me just coming out here just trying to barf on the company and then walking away. You know, again, I really think that bringing the new players, don't get them with the battle boxes. Get them with the 2-player sets, which have some infantry, or better yet, the all-in-one boxes. A great deal, and actually is a representation of what the game really is. And then, when you want to start getting them into the game, well, I don't think the Journeyman League is the right way to go. Just get them in and playing. Say, take your all-in-one box, build it, come to game at night, when we're just going to start playing. Because it turns out, that's how you learn the game, is by playing the game. And then probably later on, once they're already on board, and you're like, you know what? Those gray and those silver models could probably use some paint. Now, let's do a Journeyman League and get all the stuff painted. So there you go, guys. Those are my thoughts. Please let me know what you think down below. And otherwise, we'll catch you later. Bye.